everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all having a good day, whatever you are doing, and thank you for tuning in. So today I wanted to do a video on some dewy, simplistic makeup with a bold lip. I think this is something that anybody can really pull off and wear, and it's super easy. And also the benefit to this is everything that I'm using is going to be drugstore. Minus some brushes, so that's not too bad. If you want to see how I do this look, please stay tuned and keep watching. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna moisturize my face. I like to use the Pond's Dry Skin Cream. You can pick this up at Walmart or anywhere, a drugstore really, that you can get this. It's pretty much everywhere. I find it helps to lay a moisturizer down, especially if you're gonna be doing like a dewy face look. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just put a little bit of that on. So excuse my massive pimple there, it just kind of like popped out of nowhere. So because I used some moisturizer, I'm not really gonna use primer. I don't use primer a whole lot, and especially where I'm doing like kind of like a dewy look, I don't want to add the primer because I feel like it's just going to be too much layers of stuff on my face where it's already dewy. I feel like it's going to help slip everything off. I don't know if that's true or not, it's just how I feel. So I'm just going to skip right into some foundation. So this foundation is actually the Maybelline Fitme Shine Free and Balance Foundation. It's like a stick foundation, and you can get this at Walmart again. This one is in the shade Sun Beige 310. So I was wearing this throughout the summer because I was a little bit more tanned, and my tan is kind of fading now. It's still there, so I can get away with this. It's going to look dark when I first apply it, but then as I buff it out, it's going to match my skin tone a little bit more. And as you can see, it's like almost gone. And the center of this stick actually has like a little lighter shade in the middle, and that I think acts as like a little moisturizer, so it's pretty good. And this stuff does actually look quite dewy when it's finished. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this all over my face. And the stuff is really light to use too. It does not feel cakey. It's really good. I loved it for the summer, like I said, because you can literally just like put it on and go. It's not like super cakey and it's not matte, so for me it's like a really good summer alternative. And to buff this out, I am just using a Morphe Y7 brush. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's literally like a flock of Canadian geese like flying above the window. So yeah, another thing that I like about this foundation is that it's breathable. I can still see my skin through it, and it's very natural. Like, yeah, I can still see my pimple, but that doesn't really bother me. It's really natural and breathable. Like I said, it does not feel cakey at all. It's a really good alternative if you just want something light and to just apply really quick and go. So the concealer that I'm going to be using is the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous Concealer. This doesn't have a shade on it. I think this is the shade, it's just called Light. I think it's the lightest shade that you can get. And I really do like this concealer because, again, it's light. It's not like super masking. It's not going to cake. And it's all like, this is like pretty much the only one that I could find in the drugstore that is this white. Yeah, like as you can see, it's like a really light shade concealer. And I'm just gonna put a little bit on my pimple, a little bit here, and a little bit on my chin. So I'm going to be using a very used Real Techniques beauty sponge just to kind of blend this all in. Okay, so once that's all blended out, I'm going to go in with a little bit of setting powder, mainly under my eyes. I don't really want to put it under the whole thing. Like, I don't really want to bake with it because I feel like that will take away from the dewiness. So if you're going for like a dewy look, I would suggest just putting this under like your eye, if you even have to. Some people don't have to set their eyes, some people do. I unfortunately am one of the ones that do because my eyelids, like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but they're really wrinkly underneath. Like I have a lot of space of my lower lid. So I do have to if I don't want it to crease. I am going to go in with one of these Real Techniques contour brushes. I'm just going to kind of put this, oh, I didn't even say what this was, did I? The Maybelline Fitme Loose Finishing Powder in the shade 05 Fair. I believe this is the lightest one that they come in, and guys, I really like this powder. Like the finer milled powders, the better, because again, like I do have those like wrinkles under my eyelid, and the finer it is, the more that they don't sit in there and cake in, but they do fill in the lines. So this one is a really great drugstore option for me. I'm just gonna start applying this, just like a couple of dabs under each eye. I don't really want it to be too excessive, because then if I start caking it up, you will see the wrinkles. And I just like putting a little bit on my upper eyelid too. It kind of like just kind of sets the base for shadow. So the next thing that I'm going to do is bronzer, and I love the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. I know this is like super hyped up on YouTube, but literally like it is worth it. I think this is just the natural one. I think it's just the bronzer. I know you can get the bronzer light, but this is just the natural one and it works good for my skin tone. So I think it's a pretty universal shade. And as you can see, it is starting to go. I've hit pan, so that means that it's really good. I really enjoy this bronzer, and the smell of it is amazing. So this will always be a staple in my collection. So I'm just going to go in with the Morphe R2 brush just for contouring. Sometimes I like to use a small brush, like sometimes I will use one like this. This is actually the small contour brush from Sigma Beauty. But sometimes I don't like to be so careful and just kind of like throw it on just to kind of give it like a natural look and not so emphasized on a certain area. So I'm just going to tap in with that and pat the excess off and just go in and just start to give myself a little bit of a glow. I'm going to do a little bit on my nose. So I may have applied a little too much bronzer. I think we're okay. You just want it to look really blended, because you don't want any to be like harsh lines on your face, because that's when people are going to really notice like, oh, she bronzered. Bronzered, is that even a word? She bronzed. So as you're going to see, I'm kind of an awkward person by nature, so I say these random things, like for instance bronzered, like whatever that was, like that's not even a word. Joseph makes fun of me all the time for saying words. Like I won't even catch myself and he will just be like, what did you just say? Or he'll like repeat it and start laughing. So yeah, so you guys will probably see little glimpses of that every now and then in the videos. So after bronzer, I like to do eyebrows, and for the product that I'm using, it's almost gone. Like I've used this nonstop. I think it was one of the first eyebrow products that I've ever bought first when I first started doing my brows, and I didn't actually start doing my brows until maybe 2 years ago, and that's not that long ago. So for the brows, I'm going to be using the Milani Brow Fix Brow Kit. This one is in the shade Light. I think they only have 2 shades. If I'm not mistaken, they might have 3, but I think they only have 2. Let me open this, and as you can see, it's almost gone. The bottom shade is what I use for my eyebrows. So I am literally just using this Wet n Wild, I'm guessing it's like their angled pencil brush. I actually seen this at the dollar store like last year, and I bought it because I thought it'd be good for my brows, and it works. So I'm just dunking that in, and I'm just gonna start to fill my brows in. So sometimes I like to be really like precise with my brows and really get like the edges and the lines down, and other times I just want it to look more natural, and that's when I would use this powder. Usually I use like the Benefit Brow if I want like really precise looking brows, like with the nice sharp edges. But so now I'm just gonna go in and define my cheeks a little bit. So I'm gonna be mixing 2 different blushes. So the first one is the Milani Baked Powder Blush in the shade Rosa Romantica. So this shade is actually stunning. It's almost like a almost like a nude peachy with some strips of like darker and lighter, like a highlighty color. It's like gorgeous. So I'm actually gonna take this with a, what is this? A Sigma powder blush brush in F10. So I'm just gonna dump this in, tap out the excess, and just kind of put it where you would put your blush. And this gives like a gorgeous glow to the skin. Yeah, so this just kind of defined a little bit more. And don't be afraid to like kind of just dust the remainder off, because it will give you a little bit more sheen. Again, this is a Milani baked blush, and this is in the shade Dolce Pink, which looks like this. And this is a gorgeous like light pink color, and it again has like a sheen to it. I think all of Milani baked blushes have like a sheen to it. So I'm gonna go in again with this and tap off the excess and just give myself a little bit of color in my cheeks. We're gonna go in and just, as like a transition shade in my eye, we're gonna go with the butter bronzer again, and I'm just gonna tap. This is like a really large like a buffing brush, like a blending brush from Morphe, and this is actually an E23 brush. So I'm gonna dip into the bronzer, and I'm gonna start putting it in my crease. So I'm just gonna take a little bit again, and I'm just gonna start putting it under my eye. So if you don't have as much under eye lid space as I do, I would suggest using a smaller brush. I can just kind of get away with this because I do have a lot of space, and I do like to bring my eyeshadow down a little bit on my lower lash. So after that, I'm going to go in with some L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadow. So this is like a cream shadow. I'm sure you guys seen this color in particular on YouTube. It's been a very popular shade. Not so much now, but like maybe a couple of years ago. So this one's in the shade Amber Rush, and this is like the most gorgeous rose gold, champagne-y, like pinky shade. So again, anyone could wear this, any skin type, whether you have darker skin or you have lighter skin like me or anywhere in between. This will probably suit every single shade. It's just like a really nice universal, like, look at that. It's like, wow. So I put a little bit on my finger, so I'm just going to go ahead and put some there and just kind of even it out so one eye doesn't have a lot more than the other one, and just kind of paint it on your eyelid. So that's what it looks like. It just kind of gives you like a nice neutral sheen to your eye. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with a little bit of a smaller tipped brush, and this one is the Tapered Blending from Sigma, and it's the E35. I'm actually going to go in again with some bronzer and just kind of clean up that line. Just kind of blend it in to the transition shade a little bit. I'm not really going to line my eyes. If you wanted extra definition there, you could definitely line your eyes, but I find like a little bit of mascara is going to be enough, especially where we're going to be doing the bold lip. So I'm actually going to blend two mascaras today. The first one that I'm going to do is the Lash Sensatioal by Maybelline, and I think this is just in the shade, actually it doesn't say, but it's the Blackest one, whether it be Blackest Black or Black. I'm not going to put it on too thick because again I'm going to go in with the second mascara. And sometimes I like to go in with two mascaras as opposed to one, because I find if I use two, they will give me a little bit more dimension where you're not just coating on with the same lash wand. But one of my favorites is the Maybelline Colossal Big Shot Mascara. Again, this is in the shade Blackest Black. And like, this is like my ride or die mascara. Like, I use this for everything. I absolutely love it. So I'm just gonna go on top of what I did there. Can you kind of see how that one just like it like made more drama? So that's how that looks on my lashes. And I'm going to do my bottom ones. So that is with the top and bottom ones done. It just kind of gives a little bit more definition. We're going to go in with a little bit of highlighter. And I'm actually going to be using the Wet n Wild Megaglo highlighting powder in the shade Blossom Glow. And it looks like this. It's like a really nice champagne-y, kind of slightly pink tone. And these are really nice, like I have to say. So I'm going to go in with like a fluffier highlighter brush. So this one is the Morphe E61. The reason why I'm going in for a fluffier brush is just because I find it gives more of like a softer, dewier look when dispersing the highlight on the skin. A little bit on my nose, a little bit down. I like to do my Cupid's bow and a little bit on my chin and a little bit above my eyebrows. Actually, I'm going to use the same highlighter to do the inner corners of my eyes. I'm going to be using the Real Techniques detailer brush. So this one is like a perfect little brush just to kind of get in the corners and kind of do your brow bone. I'm just going to dip into that and just do the inner corners. For the lips, I decided to go with the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream, and this one is in the shade Amsterdam. This one is a really beautiful color. It's like a really bright, it's not like a deep red, but it's like a bright, you know what it reminds me of? It really reminds me of MAC Retro Matte Relentlessly Red Lipstick. This is the color of the lipstick. It's not exactly like a red, but it's like this highlighting ruby red. Like, it's so pretty. So I'm just going to take some of this and I'm going to put it on my lips. So this is the finished look. I hope you guys like it. I'm actually really pleased with how it turned out. So this would be a look that you could do if you don't want to go too heavy on your makeup, but you want it to still look natural, but you really wanted to play it up with like a bold lip. So I'm actually really happy how this turned out. I will leave all the products that I've used listed down below. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, please subscribe, as again, I am a new channel. Like, I think this is like my second video that I'll be putting up. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!